used to think love was supposed to feel like fireworks, a constant, overwhelming explosion of emotions. You know, the kind of love they sell you in rom-coms and Pinterest quotes. I'd read about it, Googled it like everyone does, and even tried to convince myself that I'd felt it before. But let me tell you, those 10 signs you're in love articles, garbage. When I look back, I realize that I had been measuring my relationships with the wrong yardstick. The advice we get from movies and the internet often leads us down a path of confusion, where we mistake fleeting emotions for something more lasting. So, how did I actually know I was in love? Let me tell you what I learned from my own journey. Love isn't something that just happens to you. It's a conscious decision. For years, I thought love was supposed to be this grand, magical feeling. If I was in love, it should just come over me like a wave. Right. But that's not how it works in reality. The first time I realized this was after a disagreement with my partner. It wasn't a big fight, but it was one of those moments where you could easily choose to shut down and walk away. But instead of running, I made a choice. I chose to care. I chose to listen. I chose to stay present and not let this moment define the relationship. I didn't feel like doing it, but I knew that this act of commitment was the essence of love. That's when it hit me. Love isn't about waiting for perfect feelings or romantic gestures. It's about deciding, day after day, that you want to stay and work things through together. It's not a feeling that takes over your mind. It's a constant, active choice to invest in someone else's happiness and well-being. And that decision doesn't fade with time. It deepens, matures, and grows stronger as you continue to make it. A healthy relationship requires effort. And I'm not talking about the kind of effort that comes from trying to impress someone or doing grand gestures just to win their affection. I mean the day-to-day work that happens behind the scenes. I learned this truth when I found myself making small sacrifices that weren't flashy or romantic, but were incredibly meaningful. Love isn't about big moments. It's about what you do when no one's watching, when you're tired, or when it feels like it would be easier to not care. One time, I was exhausted, physically drained from a long week. All I wanted to do was collapse on the couch and binge-watch shows. But my partner had a difficult day at work. They needed comfort, support, and a listening ear. I had a choice. I could be selfish and focus on my own exhaustion, or I could be there for them. I chose to show up. I made them their favorite tea, sat with them quietly, and listened. I didn't try to fix their problems. I just made the effort to be present. That's when I understood love is about consistently showing up, no matter how you feel. It's the small, everyday acts of kindness, patience, and care that create a strong foundation for something lasting. If you're looking for a partner who's going to impress you with grand gestures all the time, you're missing the point. Real love is in the ordinary moments, the quiet support, and the unspoken understanding that you're both there for each other, no matter what. Real love isn't just about the happy moments. It's about how you show up when things get tough. It's easy to love someone when everything is going smoothly, when you're both feeling on top of the world. But what about when the storm hits? When misunderstandings arise, or when you're both dealing with stress and emotions that aren't easy to process? That's when you truly discover what love is. There was one night when we were both frustrated. We weren't yelling, but we were definitely not seeing eye to eye. It was one of those moments where you could feel the tension in the air, but neither of us was saying anything. My first instinct was to shut down, to retreat into myself and avoid confrontation. But I realized that this wasn't going to solve anything. So I initiated a conversation, not about who was right or wrong, but about how we both felt. We shared our frustrations and listened to each other. There was no defensiveness, no blaming, just two people working through their issues, trying to understand each other. We didn't reach a perfect resolution that night, but we grew closer because we didn't let the hard times pull us apart. That's how I knew I loved them. It wasn't about the easy moments. It was about choosing to love even when it was difficult. It's about seeking understanding rather than being right, about compromise instead of winning. One of the most important lessons I've learned in love is the importance of respecting each other's autonomy. At first, I thought that love meant being inseparable, constantly together, always needing each other. But over time, I realized that true love is about giving each other the space to grow as individuals. There was a time when we had a tough conversation about whether we should take a break. Neither of us wanted to end things, but we both felt like we were losing a sense of ourselves in the relationship. It was scary to face that possibility, but we had an honest discussion about needing space, not because we didn't love each other, but because we wanted to maintain our independence while still being committed to the relationship. It wasn't easy, but respecting each other's freedom was a defining moment in our love. I had to learn to let go of the fear that if we weren't together every moment, something was wrong. Instead, I focused on supporting them in their personal growth, trusting that we could love each other while still maintaining our individual lives. Love isn't about possession. It's about trust, respect, and allowing each other the space to evolve. True love supports you in becoming the best version of yourself, not by clinging to one another, but by helping each other grow. Love is not a feeling that you wait for or hope will appear. It's a decision, an act of will. I had to shift my thinking from love being something I feel to love being something I do. It's the little things, learning each other's love languages, actively supporting one another, and making daily choices to prioritize each other's happiness. And it's not just about doing nice things when it's convenient. It's about showing up when it's hard, when you're frustrated, or when you're feeling distant. In our relationship, there were moments when I wasn't feeling particularly romantic or affectionate. But I knew that love wasn't about waiting for the perfect feeling. It was about choosing to be there for them, even in those times when it would have been easier to retreat into my own world. Love is in the choices you make, every moment, every action, every word. It's the commitment you show through the small, everyday things. That's how I knew I was truly in love. One of the most unexpected discoveries in love is how peaceful it can feel. It's not this constant rush of excitement or adrenaline. It's a calm, steady feeling that grows stronger over time. I used to think that love was supposed to be full of highs and lows, a roller coaster that made me feel alive. But as I've grown, I've come to understand that real love is steady. It's not about the excitement of newness. It's about the security and trust you build together. There's a quiet comfort in knowing that you have someone by your side. Someone who understands you, supports you, and loves you for who you are. With my partner, I found that peace. It wasn't about chasing excitement. It was about appreciating the everyday moments together. That's how I knew. Love isn't always about big gestures or wild emotions. Sometimes it's about finding peace in each other's presence, knowing that together you can face anything life throws at you. Love isn't about fantasy or obsession. It's about choice, action, and commitment. It's the decision to love someone every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up, supporting each other, and creating something lasting together. So, if you're wondering how to know you're in love, here's the truth you'll know. Because you decide, you choose to love, you choose to invest, and you choose to keep loving no matter what. And that's when love becomes real.